Thanks, guys. I'm here with Kai Kamara, one of the newest acquisitions acquired by Vancouver Whitecaps FC over the offseason. A striker come in. Kai, welcome to Vancouver. Can you describe coming in? You've been in Vancouver for just about a few weeks now. What was your first impression of Vancouver coming in here when you were moving, and what's the adjustment been like to you so far?
Yeah, it's been great. Actually, if I have to say, first impression was, wow, it's raining out here, and but everybody said get used to it. So I went and bought myself a raincoat, so I'm ready for it now. But it's a beautiful city. I don't think any player. So when I got the phone call and saying I was coming to Vancouver, I was very happy.
Speaking of the stadium and the atmosphere, the Whitecaps are famous for having multiple supporters like the Southsiders and the Rain City Brigade, among others. So have you had a chance to meet any of the Vancouver Whitecaps fans?
Yes, I have. Not just meeting them on Twitter, but I have actually, I've met some of the supporters in person, and it's great. I tell them that I forgive them for booing me when I used to come and play here, but no, it's finally time we work together. I'm a player that really likes connecting with everybody else that's been around and saying hello, thanks for coming to Vancouver. I've enjoyed it.
Good. And speaking of this season, the season's about to unfold soon. You guys are on your way to Hawaii for the preseason. How has the chemistry been with the rest of the club so far, just after a few weeks of practicing?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been hard. we've been running a lot, but that's the first week of preseason for you. And it tells most of the younger boys, and we're ready for it, and everybody came looking forward to Hawaii.
Now, about the coach Carl Robinson's style, the Whitecaps, a team famous for set pieces from corner kicks and free kicks. So what are some of the attributes to your game that you think can help the team style?
I'm a little guy, so
Clearly.
I know, yeah. But no, definitely I'm one of the most athletic players in the league, so we want to get wins for one cause. It's get all the wins, the most wins we can, so at the end of the day we can celebrate.
Yeah, there are tons of characters and personalities and different players on this team. You got the young, speedy Alphonso Davies. You got the big, towering Kendall Waston. You've had a few games against the Whitecaps over your MLS career, so coming in after a few practices now, who are some of the players on this team that you're excited to play with?
Yeah, I think if I start naming names, the guys won't be so good in the locker room. But so I'm gonna have to say everyone, all the players. No, it's been good. It's been years, obviously, battling with big men like that. It's really about how much we can work together, and that's really what we're going to do right now.
One of the more untouched things about coming to Vancouver and playing here is the travel schedule. MLS just released that you guys are on pace to travel over 50,000 miles this season, and it's been a while since you played on the west side. Last couple of seasons you've spent with Columbus and New England, teams that don't primarily travel as much as a team like Vancouver, more buses or so rather than planes, you'd see. So how are you going to be able to adjust to the rigorous travel schedule coming up with?
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. More air miles. That's all it is. So at the end of the off season, I have more free flights. But I've been around the league for a while, and traveling is not an issue. It's mentally something. But yeah, just more travel, more air miles, and then that's what it is.
Oh, good. And finally, this is a team that had a successful year last year, third in the Western Conference, didn't quite get past the first round, but it seems like a team that's really ready to take the next step. What are your expectations for this season?
Yeah, just be better than last year. That's really what it is. There's nothing less than that you work for. Again, no pressure to the guys in the locker room.
Awesome. Kai, thank you very much for doing this. Welcome to Vancouver, and best of luck going forward this season.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, that's Kai Kamara, the new striker for Vancouver Whitecaps FC this season. Over 100 goals and 300 games in his career, and hopefully a few more of those with the Vancouver Whitecaps. Back to you in the studio. The season is over for Simon Fraser University's men's football team, but for a select few, the grind continues in preparation for the 2017 CFL Combine in Regina. Jordan Pugh is one of 6 SFU players heading to the CFL Combine, a point in his career where even Pugh questioned if he'd ever make it this far.
It was always a bit of a question mark until this year I was recognized as an all-conference player, and I started to really realize that I could do this, and it'd be a dream come true.
Even though there's no team to battle across the field, the physical preparation for the combine is just as strict as a football game.
Most days end up training at least 3 to 4 hours a day. So really the workload hasn't gone down, even though I'm technically done playing football for SFU. But the training's made up for all the free time I'm not actually with the team.
For Pugh, he won't have any teammates at the combine. It'll be a 2-day make-or-break test of his own physical abilities in order to get a job he's been working almost his entire life for. Despite that pressure, he does his best to turn any nerves into positive energy.
You can't stay nervous for that long. You just more so just excited and can't wait to get going.
One of the reasons why Pugh has a calmer state of mind going to the combine is that he knows his life in football won't end at the CFL.
I'm going to play football till the wheels fall off this body of mine, as long as I possibly can. It's what I love to do. And
preparing for the CFL Combine may cause for some stressful moments, but at the end, football's a game, and games are all about having fun. Aaron Schulze, BCIT Magazine. Hello and welcome to Sports Mag for this week. My name is Aaron Schulze. We'll discuss the Vancouver Whitecaps MLS Cup dreams getting rattled in Seattle with Trevor Knapp and Ben Phillips. The Vancouver Canucks control the pace of play but don't have a win to show for it. Spencer Harwood recaps the Houston Astros' first World Series title in franchise history, and we'll go back to Trevor with his NFL's best bets for Week 9. But we'll begin with Trevor and Ben, who are live from CenturyLink Field in Seattle on the Whitecaps' 2-0 loss to the Sounders.
We are here outside CenturyLink Field in the parking lot following a 2-0. Well, that's Ben Phillips. I'm Trevor Knapp, and that's us signing out for what is now the end of the 2017 Whitecaps season.
The Vancouver Canucks' 4-game winning streak came to a close after a pair of back-to-back losses at Rogers Arena against the Dallas Stars and the New Jersey Devils. The Canucks fell to Dallas 2-1 in overtime, featuring a Sagan bar-down goal, Jacob Markstrom going full Dominic Hasek, and a stunning overtime winner. Audio is courtesy of NHL.com.
Ben goes into the slot, Shores down near the net.
The Houston Astros, after 56 seasons, as the great Jim Ross would say, finally, by God, finally win their first World Series in franchise history after defeating the Los Angeles Dodgers in 7 games. Spencer Harwood recaps one of the greatest World Series we might have ever seen.
The baseball season is 162 games long. Play ball.
With the NFL trade deadline come and gone, teams are gearing up for a playoff run. We have half a season's worth of games left, and we have half a season's worth of predictions left. Here's Trevor Knapp's best bets of the week.
I'm Trevor Knapp, and those are your best bets for Week 9 in the NFL.
That concludes Sports Mag for this week. For my colleagues Trevor Knapp, Ben Phillips, and Spencer Harwood, my name is Aaron Schulze. Thank you for tuning in. You're listening to Evolution 107.9. Hello and welcome to For the Record. My name is Aaron Schulze, and my guest at this time is Jason Botchford, the Canucks reporter for The Province. We're going to talk about the Canucks' start to the season so far. It's been an interesting one. They're currently 5-3-1. They've had some highs, such as shutting down Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers at home. They've got blown out by the Calgary Flames and the dreaded Boston Bruins. And then they went 4-1 on a road trip. It's been an interesting start so far. Botch, I guess I'll start with, what do you think about the new bench boss behind the Canucks? What do you think of Travis Green so far? How has he been different so far from Willie Desjardins?
Oh, I think there's lots. Like, he's an in-game manager. Like, he's got his hands all over everything during a game. This is not something that Willie enjoyed, even in Willie's heyday, which was the first year when the Canucks surprised everyone and made the playoffs. What did everyone talk about with Willie? He rolled 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Look, there's a lot of differences between the coaches. I think Green's a lot different from any of the previous 3 coaches that we've had in Vancouver.
So far, Travis Green has done some wonders with some of the younger players, such as Jake Virtanen. Now about the older players for a second. You mentioned the Sedins are now playing less than they did previously under Willie Desjardins. They're essentially being deployed as a third line now. Well, how do you like the Sedins as a third line? Don't think of them as first liners. What do you think of them as a third line?
Well, I like them. I think that they've been really efficient. I think that if you look around, there's people out there pointing out that their even strength points per minute played, per 60 minutes played, is up higher than it's been in 5 or 6 years. We're pointing out, like, probably in their later years, the Sedins could be a really good third line because they always have the puck. They're gonna have a puck a lot, and they're gonna win their matchups against lesser competition. And so far, this season, that's looking prophetic.
Now, some members of the Vancouver sports media have said if the Sedins can't get back to being elite levels or even scoring 50 or 60 points, that they won't come back for another NHL season. Now that they're doing well as a third line, could you see them coming back to the Vancouver Canucks or even another NHL team as a third line and be all right with it?
Well, I think they've already announced that they're pretty they're pretty clear in that, like, I really, the Players Tribune article said it all. They're not playing for another team. I totally 100% take them at their word on that it's going to be the Canucks, or they'll go back.
So you've talked about some of the stories to come from the Canucks so far this season, the Sedins being used as a third line, Jake Virtanen's resurgence, and Travis Green behind the Canucks bench. What do you think has been the biggest story to come from the Canucks so far this season?
Well, I think it's a little early for big stories. Like, I saw, like, a lot of when I was flying back after the Minnesota game, I saw, people talking about basking in the glow of the road trip and, like, look at the standing. Thousands of people playing fantasy hockey pick him up because he's got so many goals. And so, I think that those are the two really good stories so far. And we'll see. I mean, it's a long way from those stories becoming great stories that overarch over the course of the season, though.
Let's talk about goaltending now. Jacob Markstrom and Anders Nielsen were projected to be a 1A, 1B goalie tandem this year, but so far Jacob Markstrom's deployment has been up, even though Anders Nielsen on that road trip, he had 2 shutouts. So right now, who do you believe Travis Green sees as his number 1 goalie?
I think that 9 games. I believe Markstrom started 6 of them. I think Markstrom's, if he starts against Washington, that would be 7 out of 10. So I do think that the lean is for the team that they want Markstrom. He makes the most money. He's signed for. They need both goalies to be really good. And if I were picking where the Canucks are leaning right now, I think that they're leaning Markstrom, and I think that they're leaning that way since the start of the year.
Botch, will get you off on this. About the Canucks' attendance, I don't think we've seen them sold out since the season opener against the Oilers. The low point, of course, a few weeks ago, they had a game against the Winnipeg Jets. Below 16,000 for the crowd. It was the worst attendance since 2001. The Canucks are playing younger players now, such as Jake Virtanen and Brock Besser. Some tickets for the resale market, even for the game against the Washington Capitals and seeing Alexander Ovechkin, are going as low as $35. What can you really tell us? Why are the Canucks struggling to sell out Rogers Arena?
Well, I think we all know why. The team hasn't been very good, and it's a veteran-laden team. There hasn't been. There's not like there's a ton of prominent young players in the lineup right now. It's not a young and exciting up-and-coming team, and so they seem to be pretty encouraged by where things are at. But there's no denying that there's empty seats, and we all see them, and it doesn't reflect well.
You've been listening to For the Record. I'd like to thank my guest, Jason Botchford, a Canucks reporter for the province, for his time. You're listening to Evolution 107.9.